Episode 1. The opening scene is the asshole boyfriend forcing the female lead to sleep with him instead of borrowing money. If she wants to continue dating, Momo responded by kicking him straight in the face, which he blocked, then kicked her straight in the stomach, causing her to fall to the ground. He declared that he didn't care about poor and stingy girls not sleeping with him. Into the classroom. The girls don't understand why Momo is swearing, while Momo is crying because her boyfriend abandoned her. The reason she likes that asshole, because he has a face similar to the idol she admires. This is too familiar, so her friends ignore it, because advising him too much is just a waste of saliva. While walking down the hallway, Momo accidentally sees a male student wearing glasses sitting quietly reading a book, while being bullied by the bullies throwing papers at him. She feels indignant in her heart, so she goes over and sits in front of him, starts a conversation, and borrows a book to read. When seeing them stop, the female lead just walked out of the classroom and cursed loudly. Are there only trash left in this world? She was angry and was about to go find a place to relieve stress when the young man with glasses called her name. He stammered, "Someone like her talking to him. There must be only one reason." Momo thought there must be some misunderstanding here. She said, actually, she didn't want to be friends with him. Just finished speaking. He pointed the book at his face and asked if he liked mysterious things. She waved her hand and said she didn't believe in this nonsense, and said he was too annoying. Momo ignored him. He was more annoying, more stubborn, showed off more. She got mad and cursed that she was heartbroken, so she wasn't in the mood for that. Cursed otaku guy, who were fanatical all day long. Annoying, so he didn't have friends. After walking for a while, Momo realized she had gone too far, so she stopped and apologized for what she had said. She picked up the book, dusted it off, and said that although she didn't believe in aliens, she belonged to the group of people who believed in ghosts. The guy laughed heartily, because there was no such thing as spirituality in this world, making Momo extremely angry. She asked him if he had ever watched an exorcism session. The guy flipped through the book and said there was no evidence that ghosts existed. Momo pressed harder and asked him if he had dated an alien yet, and he dared to say it was real. After a while of arguing back and forth, she challenged him. If there were ghosts, he would be her slave. The guy frankly replied if she saw an alien, she would be his servant. So that night Momo went alone to explore the abandoned hospital, which was said to be a UFO sanctuary. She shined a light and called to ask if the guy had been taken away by an alien for experimentation. He replied that he had probably been there, because those who had undergone the experiment had their memories erased. On the other end of the line, he was assigned to explore the sealed tunnel, a place that was famous for being haunted online. But because he was too timid, he only dared to wander around outside and didn't dare to go in. But hearing her provocation, he was so frustrated that he took a risk and went inside. On the way, he asked her if she had ever seen a ghost. Hearing her say no, making him boil with anger, Momo shared that her grandmother, the person who raised her after her parents died, her family had a strange custom of pointing her hand up to pray for peace every time she left the house. Back then she used to do it all the time, so she was teased by the boys. But when she was teased by the male friend she had a crush on, she turned around and got angry at her grandmother. She went home and told her that because of that silly spell, she was hated by the person she liked. From then until now she not talking to her and not doing magic anymore. But when she heard others mocking her family, she felt angry. Only later did she realize that she didn't want the person she liked to mock her. Both her and the job of a psychic were special, so she liked it very much, because she believed in her. That's why she believed in ghosts in this world. She asked him why he believed in aliens. He replied that liking something doesn't need a reason. When the two of them gradually got to know each other better, he suddenly discovered bloody footprints spread all over the tunnel. He slowly turned around and saw an old lady with shining eyes saying that she would breastfeed him. In return he had to let her suck his He was startled and ran away as fast as he could. While the tunnel was getting longer and longer, seemingly endless, Momo tried to convince him to stop, because running away from her was very dangerous. It was said online that she absolutely must not let Turbo run over, or else she would cut off his. Because she couldn't contact him by phone, she had no choice but to run over to help, but was stopped by 3 mysterious men. Momo tried to escape, but was unfortunately caught by them. When they saw her awake, the 3 introduced themselves as friendly aliens. "What good person would strip a girl like that?" she said. They tell her to rest assured, her things are very carefully managed. It's just a little torn. They start to confide that their race only has males, so they have to use cloning techniques to increase the number of individuals. So they will sleep with her. After sleeping, they will take the uterus to study. Momo struggles and says she wants to keep her virginity for the idol she likes, and doesn't want to do it with a disgusting alien. All 3 simultaneously raised their hands and used brainwave manipulation to excite the other party. But the female lead used her own mind power to resist. At the moment of successful preparation, the phone suddenly rang, forcing a guy to go pick up the phone. But just as he picked it up, it was kicked away by a ghost and slowly crawled out of the phone, after rushing over to bite his. The guy with glasses fumbles to tell the heroine that he's been possessed by Turbo. As soon as he says that, he's possessed by her and keeps asking to suck his. The aliens rip off his disguise to reveal his true form and force him to hand over his. After a while of fighting, the alien kept asking the guy with glasses to give him his back. The guy with glasses said that he always wanted to meet aliens because he had no friends, so he thought that maybe he could make friends with aliens. Throughout elementary school, he looked up at the sky to find UFOs, but no one came. Humans bullied him, and aliens didn't even look at him. Only Momo protected him. That's why they couldn't hurt Momo. For Momo, he's willing to turn into a monster. Momo sits up and cheers him on, but after being beaten again, the young man is discouraged and wants to give up. The alien loses patience and turns to press down on the female lead and takes out his hot thing to tease Momo. Momo dreamily remembers the time when her grandmother showed her how to release her power, but because of embarrassment in front of her friends, she left and did not talk to her grandmother anymore. Although it was probably too late, Momo focused her senses, put the power down to her stomach and imagined the power above her head, and unexpectedly succeeded in destroying the chair. The alien was surprised to see her spiritual power being pushed back. Momo was so moved by her new power that she immediately kicked the alien straight in the head, sending him flying out, damaging the UFO's stealth layer. Right after she got out, Turbo jumped down to disturb her, forcing her to use force to push Mrs. Turbo away from the bespectacled man's body. Even though she was no longer possessed, Mrs. Turbo still had his hot thing in her hands, so she could still control him. As long as she had it, the curse would not be broken, because this place was far from the territory. She was weakened and disappeared. She said, "If you want, go to the tunnel. She will fight them." At the same time, the UFO lost control and crashed straight to the ground, but both of them were lucky to escape. After this incident, both of them believed in ghosts and UFOs. Momo explained that she was using her superpower to suppress the curse so that he wouldn't go crazy. If she wanted to lift the curse, the only way was to defeat Turbo. He suddenly stood up, took off his clothes for her to wear, and said that he would solve this himself. He couldn't involve Momo anymore. She angrily said that how could she ignore him? If it weren't for her, he would have died earlier. Momo took the clothes and told him to put them on. He was flustered and told her to put them on, otherwise he couldn't look at her. Suddenly Momo's heart started pounding, maybe because he just happened to say a line of her idol C.o.k, so she was touched, until she asked his name. Then she knew that his name was also C.o.k.